All right, we're back, and this time we're going to be reviewing the Path of Heavens battle magic.
Heavens on
Heaven,
it.
yeah. Don't start with that one. All right, let's start with the lore attribute. Lore attribute is the second seal. It lasts one turn. The army gains a second seal counter. Casting player is allowed to reroll a single d6 die roll, either to hit, to wound, or an armor save roll at the expense of a counter. So basically, for every spell you successfully cast, you gain a counter. Expend them later in the turn to reroll a die.
Right.
Actually, kind of like this lore attribute. I think it's good. The problem is I've got heavens a couple times and forgotten to use them, so they don't help me as much as they should. But I think it's really good.
This is yeah, I like this attribute a lot. It's something that you can use in a number of phases in the game, and rerolls are so precious now in the game since they've been
For most armies.
for most, yeah, except for those.
Yeah.
Cough, cough. Beast herds, cough,
beast
cough.
herds.
You know. But and having that at a critical time is always a nice
Yeah.
thing. So as an attribute, I think this is great.
It's kind of nice. I mean, you look at it, and some of the critical rolls, like you're rolling the one to wound with
Yep.
my rock lobber. You can re-roll that die.
Exactly.
That's huge. I think this is pretty big.
Exactly. You decide everything's on a crush attack, and you just
Right, and a
make
lot
sure
of,
you hit.
and not unlike a lot of the other lore attributes, which is do something with somebody within 12 inches. You can never hit them more than once. Sometimes
Right.
you run out of targets to your lore attributes to go off on, or it really
Right.
doesn't
or doesn't
mean
help you
anything.
against your opponent. Yeah.
Right.
No, this
So,
is a really nice lore attribute. Kind of goes back to like seventh. I think Heavens had this.
did they?
Yeah, was the reroll.
I think that was a re-roll of a magic die, though. Wasn't that a magic
I
die
think it was a
casting die?
general one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, I like this attribute.
So okay, next is the base spell, which is Blizzard. Its casting value is 7 with a boosted value of 10. Range is 12, boosted value of 36. It's a hex, lasts one turn. The target has -1 to hit, -1 leadership. Shooting attacks that do not roll to hit using ballistic skill must roll a d6 before shooting on a 4. And if you roll that, it can't shoot. As a base spell, I think this is a nice little hex spell. Casting value is not low, but it's low enough that you can get by with a +2 guy and get 2 dice, which is
Two dice it.
a reasonable casting value, and you can get it a few times. And anytime you can affect leadership, the hit is nice.
-1 to hit's pretty good.
Is nice, but then you get the leadership on top of that. I
Right.
think that's really nice. And then just messing with people's war machines when you've got the one that's causing the challenges. And it's 50-50, but I think as a base spell for a lore, this is actually very good.
Yeah, because it's got a general use. It's a 10 casting if you wanted a decent range,
Right.
which makes it kind of tough. It means minimum 3 dice, and even that's kind of pushing it.
It'll depend on your army too. If you're playing it with Equitane or somebody, or your mages with your combat blocks,
That's true.
then
Then
it's
they're
not
up front.
it's not such a bad thing. Yeah, if you've
Right.
got a mage sitting in the back line, yeah, 10's a little harder.
Yeah, but that's the Blizzard, and I like that. I've always liked that spell a lot.
Yeah.
The next spell, the one spell is the Wind Blast. Cast on a 6 or a 9. Range is 18 or 36. It's a hex. And lasts one turn. Target cannot move more than 10 inches in the remaining move subphase. All other enemy units within 6 inches of the target when the spell is cast have a -1 ballistic skill. Yeah, this has been redone again.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the spell. Target cannot move more than 10 inches in the remaining move. So you stop a guy from marching. I guess you stop cav and flyers from marching.
Yeah.
You're
Fast,
not
fast
gonna-
stuff.
You're not going to do much to infantry. All infantry all enemy units within 6 take a -1 ballistic skill. Okay, that's something, I guess. Only casts on a 6 at range 18. At range 18, this is not that great, and it only affects the remaining moves phase, so it's not going to slow him down charging you.
Correct.
Yeah, I guess if you're playing a gun line and you're going to cast it on a 9 at 36 inches and try to prevent them from getting to you. But I'm not a...
I mean,
Anyway.
to me, the use of it is if you're fighting against a gun line, it happens a lot of ballistic-based shooting, and you're going to reduce their ability because it's basically a bubble effect, which is
Right, a 6-inch bubble.
So now maybe you can affect 2 or 3 if they happen to be on top of one another. Ballistic-based unit shooting at you by
Right.
putting a -1 on them, basically. I mean, in that situation, I think it's
Yeah.
okay. I mean, if you're running like wood elves and they've got 4 units of blade guard or high elves that are doing the shooting
Right.
thing.
You target one and it gets the one on each side of it.
Right.
Because it's 6 inches of each
dwarves.
side of the unit. So
Yeah, there I can see a use for it, but
that's pretty limited.
but then you're using it at 9 and
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway.
Next one is number 2 is Thunderbolt. Basic casting is 8, boosted is 11, range is 24, boosted range is 48. It's a hex, a missile, and a damage. It's instant. Target suffers D6 strength 6 hits with lightning attacks. This is the old Thunderbolt spell,
Right.
basically. I've always loved this spell just because it's a really high strength attack, and
It's not that high of a casting at 8.
it's not out to 24. But that's something that a lot of people are going to think about, at least for small chaff units
Right.
or monsters, individual characters running around, even war machines. Have to think
Yeah.
about it. I
Well,
mean,
D6 strength 4, a lot of times you can just ignore and let go.
exactly.
But D6 strength 6,
You got to think. You got to think hard because it's going to cut through a lot of armor. And then if it's a flyer, it's with lightning attacks. So
that's an additional D6 strength 4.
it's a D6 or D3.
D3, D6 strength 4, one of the two.
Something like that. Yeah. So I mean, as a spell, I mean, I like the spell at the base value. At the boosted value, the 48, 11's a lot. Yeah, I think you have to think hard before throwing that many dice at it. But I think it's a solid spell and one of the ones I like in this lore.
Thunderbolt. Yeah, it's a good spell. I mean, even 11 at 48 inches is not... I guess that's, 4 dice?
Yeah.
It's kind of tough.
It's not terrible. Just do I want to blow up my wizard for? Is it that important? Yeah.
Well, I mean, strength 6... I mean, that's wounding war machines on 5s.
Right. But do I want to blow up my wizard to blow up
a war machine?
To
Probably not.
probably only cause a wound or 2 if
Correct.
I'm lucky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, it's different if the guy's mage is running around back there by themselves,
Yeah.
then I might risk it.
Okay. Number 3 spell is the Stars Align, which casts on a 9 or 12. Range is 12, up to boost to 24. Lasts a turn. Target may reroll failed to hit, to wound, or armor save rolls. Declare which when casting the spell. It's a 9, and it's an augment, so you're casting it on your to hit, to wound, or armor save. This isn't good. I mean, it's good. It's a high casting cost for what you're getting, I think. Range is only 12 at 9. Yeah, it's okay. I'm not enamored with this.
I think it's a good spell, particularly for cavalry-based armies, where the armor save tends to be more important.
Right.
The Kingdom Equitane, or if you're doing Chaos Knights, things of that nature. I actually think it's a solid sell. The 9 casting value, 3 dice, it does make it a little more challenging.
Yeah, and only range 12 at
At
3
12.
dice.
So I mean that's why I think it's only cavalry, because you need to keep your mage in close
with the-
proximity. Yeah. If you're playing with regular guys, then I'm not sure that you want to be casting it at 12. That's kind of insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely useful. Rerolling to hits if you like Kingdom of Equitane, that
Yeah.
stops the rubber lance syndrome where
Exactly.
you'd miss all those, So I mean, it's got its uses, but again, anyway.
Yeah, but rerolls are precious in the game, though.
Yes.
So anytime you can get them, I think it's helpful.
That's true. Okay.
The next one is Curse of the Westerlies. It's number 4 spell, casting value 9, boosted value 12, range 12, boosted value 24. It's a hex, lasts 1 turn. Target must be roll successful to hit, to wound, or armor save rolls. Declare which one casting value. This is basically the mirror image
Of the Stars Aligned.
the stars
Yeah.
aligned. I think it's the same comments. I mean, the getting your opponent to re-roll is sometimes better than your own re-rolls, particularly if you're going against somebody that has a lot of low strength attacks
Right.
or someone who has decent armor saves. So
Or even somebody that has a lot of high strength attacks to make him reroll his to hits.
yeah, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially if you tie it with parry.
Actually, I don't know why. It's just, I guess the way I'm looking at it, I like this one better than the other one. And it's the exact same spell, pretty much.
Yeah. I kind of see them both the same. I said I like them both. I just I kind of almost wish they would have combined it into one spell, where you had the choice of a hex
Right.
or a augment. But I mean, I think they're solid spells. It's just that the casting value makes you in the range for the casting value makes you think.
Makes you think twice about it.
Yeah.
The number 5 spell is Lightning Storm. Cast on a 13. Range is 24. Hex and direct damage. This one you roll a d6 on a 3-up. Oh, after it hits 1, you roll a d6, and on a 3-up you choose an additional target within 6 inches of the target. Continue rolling until you roll a 1 or a 2, choosing new targets within 6 inches from the previous one on 3-up. No unit can be targeted more than twice. Afterwards, each target suffers d6 strength 6 with lightning attacks. So this is the old chain lightning spell with the additional fact that it's got the lightning attacks, so it's doing additional damage to flyers. Cast on a 13, it's a big casting. It is the strength 6 again, so I mean that's useful. And it's moving on a 3-up, so 2/3 chance of hitting another unit. It's a good spell. The range is only 24 and it doesn't boost. Limits it somewhat, but 24 inches to the first target's not that limiting.
Right, that's reasonable range. You're gonna hit most things.
So I like this spell. It's a high casting cost, 13. It's one of the bigger ones. I mean, you're doing a minimum of 4 dice on that, and not having a great chance if you're only +2, even at that.
Right. You really have to probably push 5 at it.
So you're pushing close to 5, and that's where that always worries me.
Yes.
But the damage output's pretty good.
Can be. I kind of view it. I always thought even the old version Chain Lightning was the fear of the spell was better than the actual effect of the spell.
Right.
I mean, you could get lucky and bounce through the whole guy's army and take out a whole bunch of guys, but you're still doing D6 guys. Yeah, it could all be 6s across the board, I suppose, but
Yeah.
I think in practice that just doesn't happen very often. You bounce maybe once or twice, and
then it's done.
you end up rolling a 1 or 2 on a couple of the attacks.
Right. Yeah, and you're not a guy with a block of infantry is not really that worried about this.
Correct.
It's when you've got the little valuable units, or
Yeah.
even the little chaff units.
Well, if you're
you
an
don't want it
MSU
ripping
army,
through
you
it.
got a lot of chariots or
Right.
anything like that. Yeah, it can be scary.
Right.
It's just, to me, it's what it could possibly do to
Yes.
compared to what it really does in that, and just throwing 5 dice at something that
Might do something.
might do a lot.
Yeah.
It's just not unless you really have a mage you don't care about. So
Good point. All right.
last one is Call of the Comet. Casting value is 13. Boosted is 16. It goes on the ground. It's a permanent spell. Basically, you choose a point anywhere on the table, and you put a counter on it. And for the base version, you roll a dice at each magic phase. On a 1 to 3, you add another counter. On a 4 or 6, the comet arrives and it does its attack. On the boosted version, the caster can choose when it arrives secretly and write it down when the comet will arrive. This cannot be on the same player turn as the spell was cast. At the end of the magic phase in the chosen player turn, the comet arrives, put an additional counter on spot in each subsequent magic phase. Then when it does arrive, whether it's the planned one or the base one, you basically do 2d6 times the counter, suffer 2d6 strength 4 plus the number of hits.
So minimum strength 5.
Yeah, so minimum strength 5. And the spell's removed. Yeah, so as it's permanent, it can't be dispelled once
Right.
it's in action. So it's just the old comet of Cassandra.
Yeah, this one gets bigger though.
Yes.
The range is getting bigger too,
Mhm.
which I kind of like.
Well, yeah, I guess it goes back to the older comic
Older, yes.
from like 5th edition, where
Yes.
I
Where
think
it
I
got
had, I
bigger
think I
and
had one that
stronger.
destroyed everyone's army because it took 6 turns to come in.
Yes.
You know, yeah.
Yes. It's the Comet. I mean, the Comet's really good against gun lines. It has always been good against a gun line army because it forces them to move or take it.
Yep.
And I don't think I would be rolling the higher boosted versions, although
Knowing when it's going to come in,
knowing when it's
which
going
is always the scary thing with the Comet, and how many times I know
Yes.
I cast it and go, I don't know if I want to do that charge because I might get blown up by my own Comet.
yes,
You know,
and you got to wait for the Comet to come in before you can make your charges.
Right.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, which kind of counterbalances
Yeah.
your usefulness against a gunline army.
Right.
Because now you finally get there, and the Comet's been waiting to come in for 4 turns, and you can't get near it.
Exactly. But 16's
Yeah,
very difficult.
16's going to be real tough. Even 5 dicing, 16
Yes,
is not
it's
a.
very difficult.
It's a nice spell. It's always been a good spell, especially the lower version, and the bonus, of course. It's a permanent, so you cast it on a 13, it goes off. It's there. It's waiting to come in. Next turn, you do it
Cast
again.
another one. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you start doubling up on them, and you
No,
really
I-
scare them.
Of the Uber spells, I always liked Comet.
Right.
You know, you just have to have the right army to get the most
Yeah.
use out of it.
Because it does have its limitations. Because again, you got to be careful not to run under it,
Right.
so it can block off sides of the battlefield.
Exactly. The one thing about this lore is, generally speaking, the casting values are relatively high. You know, almost everything except for the first 2 spells, you need to throw at least 3 dice at it.
Yeah,
So, you know, and of course 2 of them, you've got to throw, 5 dice at them, a lot of the boosted versions. So this is you're carving through a lot of dice to use these spells. And if you're just putting your mage in, depending on if you're playing an elite army, yeah.
yeah.
Let's try that again.
You want to back up on that one?
We need to start drinking before we do this. Is that you need to? Where was I even going? The
3 dice. I mean, most of them are 3 dice.
you have to put a lot of dice at it, and you're risking your mage. And I'm sorry, I was saying, if you had a lead army, you're going to potentially be risking a lot of troops if you get a big pie plate on top of them.
Yeah.
So
And what you were saying earlier, though, with the 3 and 4 spells, the Curse of the Westerlies, the Stars Align, if you're playing a attack where your mages are up with your guys, then your guys are the more, that tends to be the Kingdom of Aquitaine Cav army with
Right.
the Empire. And now you don't really want to be risking those big dice rolls.
well, definitely on King and Aquitaine, you lose
Yeah,
whole lands.
that's terrible. But anyway, overall, I'm not sold on this. I used to love the Lore of Heavens because it used to be fairly low casting costs.
That was his thing. I loved it, Nathan. It was my favorite lore. But now, the casting values to me are just too high.
Looking at that, I can't use it with my Kingdom of Aquitaine.
Me either. Even though it's one of the few options you have, I don't think I'd use this one. If I have, a lot of cheapy guys, I'm okay with it.
Right.
Because the spells are relatively solid. It's just the high casting values.
Yeah. I'm overall a thumbs down with this. I'm not a big fan of this lore at all.
So Waldorf is a thumbs down.
Waldorf's down, thumbs down
And
on this
I'm going
one.
to agree with you. Statler is a thumbs down also.
Yeah, not sold. All right.